Hello Aquarius, great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Aquarius. First of all, let me just give you a few information that it was coming through strongly when I was shuffling. And I just want to remind you, first of all, I feel like your ruling planet, Uranus, it's everything that you're doing right now during this Mercury retrograde, but also the Uranus retrograde period, requires a lot more effort from your end in order to push things forward. So it's going to feel just a little bit frustrating because a lot of the things that are happening requires, a concerted effort for you to push things to move the way that you want it to move. So it's not going to be, just like, you can't really take it for granted. You can't really kick up your feet and assume that the situation is going to move along. I feel like it just requires a lot more effort, a lot more momentum from your end. So from now until the December time frame, it's really important to get things going, okay? And I also feel as well, there is this tremendous need for many of you. You might have fallen off when it comes to, like some type of a dietary habit, some type of an exercise regimen. Get yourself back on it, okay? Get yourself motivated in order to do that. Start it out in the morning so that you can start to see tremendous changes, tremendous results, and just, overall health improvements and just strengthening your body from now into December. So I feel like there are a lot of good changes, positive improvements that can happen for you. It just requires that you take that extra step in order to get your life and reorient yourself and to achieve the things that you want. So that's the first thing. If you guys can try to secure your property, so wherever you are living right now, make sure your items are, important items in particular, are safely locked up, safely secure. Do not leave purses in cars. Do not leave, windows open. I just feel like it's necessary mainly because I'm seeing, I don't like to relay negative information, but I feel like it might be helpful for this month to be extra vigilant about your stuff, especially stuff that you store in your home. Leave valuables in a safe place, in a hidden place even. Leave money in the bank, whatever money you're stashing up, because I feel like there might be theft, okay? There might be, yeah, so this is showing up in the home situation. So there might be theft, there might be things happening in your environment that is not favorable. You don't want to deal with the hassle. And a lot of the times when things go missing, the worst part of it is we don't know who did it and we don't know who to trust. So I just want you to keep that in mind. This deals with physical belongings, okay? So just be careful about that. Take these preventative measures just to avoid the hassle. And I'm also feeling as if for many of you, it just feels to me like financially, things are going to be really good this month. Things are just like going to be flowing. They're going to be abundant. I feel for many of you, your social circle is really, really kind of like, I see this, stretch, like expanding. So I feel like it's an expansion when it comes to people that you meet. Some new people in your new work environment, I feel they're going to be lifelong friends. So you're making, establishing lifelong friendships on the professional front with people that you might be working with, which is not always a bad thing because if you're in the same industry, you're going to run into each other sooner or later. And so it's good to make a good impression, but I also feel like you're going to be forging alliances and you're going to be making lifelong friendships with them. The third message that I have here, and I feel like it's corroborated here with this Ace of Cups that fell out, relationships are really looking great for many of you. I feel if you have recently started dating, let me try this online thing. Let me go to the local dive, to the important not to give up because, the Mercury retrograde period last month might have really interfere with your dating prospects. You might have, talked to a few people, but things never materialize. They're saying not to give up. Continue. It's going to require, once again, that extra push, that extra incentive from your end to get things to move the way that you want. I know last month was really frustrating for many of you. I started to feel that energy around the 3rd of the month, August 3rd, when the ruling planet went into retrograde. And then on the 12th, when Mercury went into retrograde. And so we had a bunch of, and also with the solar eclipse, where many of you have really started to re-examine your relationships, have to started to really, try to, I guess, like, introspect to see what you are exactly looking for in a relationship partner, what qualities you do not want to be dealing with in a relationship partner, and whether or not the relationship partner was right for you. So I feel a lot of you going through this mental, like, re-examination, process of elimination even. And so that's good. Things have to be shaken up once in a while. Otherwise, we become complacent. Otherwise, the energy stagnates and we don't get a major month, a major catalyst month for things to start moving. And I feel for many of you, it's because you're making decisions to move things along. The last message that I have here is they mentioned charity. And what I'm feeling is this. So just think of this time period as, so the best way that I can describe this Uranus retrograde energy, and this is based on personal experience, okay? A lot of the times we know what we're supposed to do, but we, out of fear for the unknown, out of fear of being displaced from what we do know or the status quo where we are right now. So we know that it's not exactly, the best that it can be, because for you guys, you're very specific about what you want and what you don't want. And when we're dealing with the gray areas in between what you want and what you don't want, if things are going okay, then you will stick with it. You will ride it out. You will, change it. You will try to fix it so that things get better. But in certain situations, you always think about, no, I actually want more. I want the best. And I feel like a big part of you is wanting more out of life, wanting more out of your social interactions, wanting more out of your relationships. And you feel this element here about not being 100% emotionally fulfilled. So I feel that element coming through. And during this retrograde period, when your ruling planet is no longer in the picture, it's basically telling you, what are you willing to work for? The things that you want and the things that you don't want. And you're going to start to realize the things that you don't really want, there's extra effort, extra attention, extra push in order to get it going. And you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel tired about having to move things along all the time. You're going to feel a little bit burdened and you're going to feel a little bit restricted. Whereas the things that you do want, I feel like that gateway, that portal just opens for you, where things are so much easier. Things just move really, really, smoothly. And so I want you to keep that in mind, because that is an indication for you to, acknowledge the fact that these are the things that are actually really good for me, because they move really swiftly, they move really fast, they move really smoothly, and it doesn't require that much work on your end. So that's the universe kind of reorienting you. And a lot of blessings are coming through, and we have to let go of, things from the past so that we can enjoy fruitful, prosperous things from the future. And I do feel for many of you, this is a major financial move or a major relationship move, okay? Especially a relationship where you do not love a person anymore, but you might have financial entanglements with them. So that's what I'm sensing. Let me see if there's anything else coming through, and I'm going to get the last two remaining cards. So another thing that I feel coming into the picture, family members, siblings, whoever that you consider family members, okay? And I usually think of it as like blood relatives, but even, co-parenting blended families, that can also count. So family members. There's going to be frustration dealing with family members, and I feel like a lot of it is it's almost like boundary issues. It's almost like they expect you to do certain things, but they were never clear about their expectations of you. And so it could cause a little bit of strife in that, family relationship. So it's almost like somebody, they're telling you all of these things, but they leave out, important details. And I feel like when it comes to communication, be very careful and be very clear what somebody's telling you. Repeat after what they say, and you tell them, is that all that you want from me, or are there other things? Hold them accountable for the way that they communicate. And I also feel miscommunication can happen for this month. And especially with family members, be very, very clear that they understand your instructions or you understand their instructions. And be very clear that they are communicating in a way that it allows you to, fully understand what they are expecting from you. And if you feel like they're expecting a little bit too much, then you tell them that's not really appropriate because you're putting too much burden or pressure on me. So drawing very clear boundaries is going to be very crucial for you for this month, okay? Okay, so let me go into the reading for this month. Well, obviously, the first card that came out here, we have the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups indicates usually a new love, a new relationship, something blossoming, something really, really thriving. And I feel like this is a relationship that you have been waiting for quite some time. So the Hangman underneath the Ace of Cups. This is a situation where, we're in an uncomfortable situation, either single and feeling a little bit isolated, a bit like jaded, I feel, when it comes to dating, feeling as if, you're constantly frustrated. You're being dealt kind of like the short end of the stick when it comes to your romantic life. And so with the Hangman in the reverse for this month, I feel like for those of you who have been waiting for that type of a breakthrough love relationship partner, and especially a partner that doesn't leave you hanging, that doesn't leave you waiting, that doesn't leave you feeling like you're not sure about their intentions, you're not sure about their motives, you're not sure about what they want from you. I feel like many of you have a new relationship partner here with the Ace of Cups. And this is somebody that might have come in the previous months. But the bottom line is, I feel like you're going to be in an emotional situation, especially with the love relationship partner, where you're going to feel very nurtured, cared for, fulfilled, and treated in a very appreciated type of way. So you have a partner that is very clear about what they want from you. They're very concise when it comes to their expectations. And they're very, I almost feel like they don't leave you in the dark about where the relationship is headed, okay? So we have some really good things coming into the picture. The second thing that really stands out to me here, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Magician. So first of all, we're going from a 10 of Pentacles. This is, total financial abundance. Having a lot of accumulated wealth over the years. Having even a relationship where a house was shared between, property is shared between people, children. This is basically the full home, okay? House, children, pets, kids, whatever the situation might be. Generational wealth, even people living in the same house. And we have it from going from a 10, reducing to a 5. Basically what this means is dividing up assets between people. Splitting things right down the middle. Splitting down the cost of securing a place. splitting down the cost of, like, if you are sharing space with another person, they might tell you, oh, I need you to help me with half of the payment. I need you to help me with half of the groceries. I need you to help out. So I feel like there are going to be a lot of financial discussions. Both of these cards are showing up in a way where I feel like there might be some disagreements. And I feel overall that you are dealing with somebody, or you are doing some type of financial negotiation with somebody, to be very clear about the terms of, what do each parties expect from each other. And the person that you are having a discussion with, it shows up here as the Magician in the reverse. This is somebody who is a little bit elusive and evasive when it comes to how much money they have, how much money they're making, how much money is coming in. And this is also somebody that shows you one thing, but they really mean another. And when it shows up in the reverse position, it usually indicates some type of, a person that might have some type of manipulative qualities. They might distort the truth. They might be very like, I am also seeing, and this is not something I'm seeing with this card, but like they're saying like passive aggressive. They might say, oh, whatever you want. But honestly, when people say that, they always have a preference. But for whatever reason, this person is not telling you the whole story. You might be like signing legal paperwork, legal contracts, as it relates to money. For those of you who are starting, new jobs, for those of you who are getting like a promotion, or especially consulting a legal counsel, if you have, assets that you need to pass down, or you have assets that are inherited, or you even share assets with another person, there's going to be a legal counselor coming into the picture, and there are going to be discussions about financial dealings that in the past might have been very, I want to say, like, pieces of the puzzles are missing in this financial arrangement, and things are going to be made right. Things are going to be balanced out, and the money is going to the people that deserves it. Okay. So I feel overall, with this Five of Pentacles, it doesn't denote, it doesn't denote any type of financial hardships, but I'm sensing that it does denote, along with this Ten of Pentacles, financial assets, like paying half of your bills or dividing up your assets with another person. So overall, financially, the Ten of Pentacles is having a lot of financial abundance. Okay, so this is like wealth and things that you have accumulated. You spend a lot of time building them up over time. And so my advice here is, for some of you, I feel like if you have spent a lot of time building it up, don't squander it. Okay, don't squander it. Don't spend it recklessly. Be very strategic and make your money build for you. And especially, don't count on this money, this pot, always being there. Make smarter spending choices, make smarter investment, and don't, be strategic about where it's going, how much is coming in, how much is leaving your hands, because I feel like you might be a little bit reckless with money. Going back to that message I mentioned earlier about, securing your property, making sure, if you have like cash lying around, I don't know if people do anymore, but whatever situation that you're in, you might, for whatever reason, you might have that. Secure it. Okay? Secure it so that it doesn't get lost, it doesn't get stolen, because I do feel theft, especially in the family situation. If you're sharing space with a lot of people, if a lot of people are coming and going in your housing environment, because this can also denote a very crowded house. This can also denote to you feeling like very upset, but not knowing who to direct your energy at. So this is a card about, anger and frustration, charging ahead, trying to find out the truth. But in the reverse position, it's almost like you don't have the information. You don't know who's at fault. You don't have all the knowledge. And so you might resort to, filing for a police report. You might have to take things to the next level. And so avoid this hassle. Keep money in a safe place. And keep your expensive jewelry, whatever it is, keep it in a safe place. Cell phones, electronics, whatever it is that is really valuable to you, I feel like it would be better for you to try to keep things safe, okay? Keep things locked up, keep things squared away, okay? Just try to do it for the month. It's a big hassle having to, get the law involved, okay? It's a big hassle. The other card that really stood out to me here, we have here the devil. And the devil is shown up in the reverse position. This is basically breaking away like old chains, breaking away from self-limiting thoughts, breaking away from unhealthy habits, unhealthy people, and especially, I honestly feel like for many of you, this is kind of like breaking away from situations where you feel like, I feel like you're going to be, you have been frustrated with people who are very like either really passive aggressive, who are not really clear and assertive about stating very clearly what they want, because I feel like many of you are quite impatient when it comes to people's communication styles. You want people to be forthright and you want people to be very direct when they talk. It frustrates you when someone like meanders, when their mental processes is not on point, and they also, they go off on tangents when they tell a story or when they communicate, or when they're really long-winded. I feel like many of you are very frustrated. And this month, I feel like you're going to be letting go of some old habits as it relates to the way that you communicate with people. I feel that you're going to be a lot more patient. So in the past, if you have been kind of like, if your mind kind of drifts when someone tells a really long-winded story, this is the month where you are going to be a lot more mentally present. You're going to be a lot more sympathetic. You're going to be dealing with people in whatever capacity. It could be work related. You're going to be dealing with people who might not have the intelligence, they might not have the vocabulary, they might not have the language skills, or even, they might not be innately articulate, and they might be stuck in an environment where they can't really express themselves well. They might be inundated with a lot of fear. And so I feel like you're heavily dealing with a lot of other people that might have these communication problems. And so I feel for many of you in the past, whereas, you might have just like, I don't want to deal with this. It's frustrating me, or it's boring. It's taking too long to get to the point. I'm just going to look elsewhere. I'm just going to, do something else. This is the month where I feel some of you are lightening up. You're actively listening. You're trying to get the other person's point of view. You're trying to put yourself in their shoes. You're trying to be a lot more understanding, and you're trying to be a lot more, I want to say less judgmental to Aquarius, because I feel like you can be very judgmental at times. I feel like judgment is out the window because you're all ears. So it could be, work that you're doing that requires this type of approach. But I feel for many of you, this is a relationship partner as well that you are softening up and opening up to. And you might take this approach mainly because you understand that as one human being to another, it's really important to give the other person, the benefit of the doubt, or to give the other person that courtesy, even though they can be, really long-winded, even though they can be like, their thoughts meander. I feel like you're going to be a lot more patient this month. You're not going to jump the gun. You're going to be a lot more diplomatic, a lot more patient when dealing with other people, okay? And I feel like struggle with that concept, Aquarius, and I'm sensing that the Uranus retrograde is really forcing you to slow down, and it's forcing you to confront situations that you have been very impatient in dealing with in the past. It has also made from it. You might have been like, I don't have the time. But coming in for this month, you're going to find the time. You're going to be emotionally and mentally present in order to deal with it. And I feel like the timing's perfect, actually. Okay? Timing's perfect. You're not really going anywhere. This month doesn't feel to me to be very hectic. So I don't feel like, that you're going to be impatient and drifting off into other things. I feel like you're going to try to be very grounded and be present for other people that might need you. Okay? let me see if there's anything else coming through. There was something that when I picked up this card, it just feels to me like they mention here new alliances, new people, like new friendships being formed. For many of you, this could be a fire sign here. This is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo that I feel is coming into your work environment, or you're going to meet in the work environment. So they might already be around, or they might, be coming into the picture for the month of September. So a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. This is somebody that I feel like repentant. I feel like repentant. They might not have had, like a clean slate when it comes to their past. They might have done some things that they were not proud of, okay? Because in the past, we have here the magician, the reverse, which is distorting the truth, not being very honest. And I also feel as well, they're making a major, major change in their life. If you have children with this person, they're trying to make their life better. They know that, they've made a lot of mistakes in the past. They're trying to make amends. So if you can make amends, if you can reconcile, allow them to do that. Allow that opportunity for yourself. Forgive and forget, and then move on, okay? And then for those of you who are dealing with this person and you're just like, I'm not really sure, I feel like you're looking, like you're putting them under a microscope, and you're just like, okay, let me see where you have been. Let me see about your conduct in the past. Let me see whether or not I trust you right now as we speak. So you're going to be dealing heavily here with a fire sign, and I feel like you're really examining whether or not you can trust them, whether or not you can let them back in, whether or not the two of you can, move past this, okay? So let me look into your relationship sector and see what's going on for you guys. So, Aquarius 2017, please. We've got a lot of single Aquarius here. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to pull out another card for you here. And here. Okay, so a big earth sign coming through, earth sign energy. So let me just talk about the past, okay? Because I feel like a lot of recent end to relationships have happened for you in your recent past. The recent past goes back to like 6 months, okay? And depending on whether or not you're born, in early degree Aquarius or late degree Aquarius, the energy could have happened for you earlier or later. So going back towards like 6 months. First of all, what we have here is the Five of Wands as well as the Devil. The Five of Wands is a relationship where there is a lot of conflict, a lot of trust issues, a lot of disagreements. And I also feel as if there has been a lot of like, I want to say like inner struggle and power struggle between you and a relationship partner. This card, I usually look at it as, two people who are basically two different species. You can't really agree on the simple things. You can't really see eye to eye. And philosophically, you're so different from each other that every argument inevitably leads to, every discussion inevitably leads to an argument because you just don't agree on the fundamentals of like life. It's linked up here with the Devil, and the Devil is in the reverse position. So the devil basically indicates, patterns, behaviors, habits that we get into that have not been good for us. And I also feel for many of you, you're breaking this pattern because you have dated people in your past where there's a lot of chemistry, there's a lot of attraction because, opposites attract, right? But at the same time, on the foundational level, you and the other person that you're dating, you don't really have the same goals. You don't really have the same plans for the future. And so while the relationship is very exciting, it's also very dynamic. It just doesn't have a common consensus, and there isn't a common narrative between you and the relationship partner. With the devil card, basically, I feel like many of you are breaking these patterns, are realizing the relationship habits that you have, either picking fights to make things interesting, or, like that mirroring effect where if your relationship partner does something that makes you jealous, you go and do something that makes them jealous. Because I feel like this is a mirroring back and forth, bickering, and it's very senseless. And I feel like a lot of you have been caught up in these relationships in the past, and it was not good for you. You have come to realize that you are essentially, allowing and inviting this energy into the relationship. And you were also with a relationship partner where there was like zero compatibility to begin with. And as a result of it, the relationship has seen many, many ups and downs. There were a lot of, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. It's a vicious cycle. And so you have broken this, which is really good, Aquarius. Moving forward into the present, what we have here is the Magician. And the Magician, I usually think of this card as the Aquarian male, because Aquarian male are quite charismatic. They're super intelligent, but this can also represent Aquarian people in general, where you are kind of like the life of the party. You know how to make really good first impressions. And you have a lot of like interesting anecdotes. You throw out stories, you throw out these little anecdotes, and people really, really like you. People really like to be around you, and they gravitate towards you. So this is a really good energy to have. Many of you are returning to the dating scene, wining and dining other people, or being wine and dine, going out, having a really good time, a cocktail in your hand, and just being the life of the party. So I feel overall for singles, make yourself available for dating. Even if you've had like a few failed relationships or failed attempts at dating, don't give up on it, because your energy is really dazzling for this month. And I feel like you need to be seen and heard, and you're going to be in an environment where you start to really attract new people. And I also feel we have the Star coming through in the future, especially for single Aquarius people, because this is your card here. This is kind of like inspiration, being divinely guided, and just being in the right place at the right time to get your heart's desire. So I feel if you are single, we have here the Page of Coins, which is, an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have here the Knight of Coins, a very strong earth sign energy that is going to be in the picture for those of you who are single, looking for people, wanting to, expand outwards, okay? For others of you, you are dealing with this person, the Magician, and thank God he's in the upright position, because this is he or she can be very seductive. This is somebody who is, they dress really well. They're very well groomed, so they're never caught wearing ripped jeans or, shorts. They're a little bit on the high maintenance side. So many of you are dealing with this person. Very intelligent, has many interesting stories in his or her past. So they can tell you, the most bizarre, the most unique story. But I feel like they're honest. I don't feel like they're deceitful or anything like that. I feel that they are honest. And even like the most outlandish stories has has truth to it. So you're with somebody that is dressed really well, that is very well groomed, very popular. People like them. And I also feel for many of you, I feel like there is a sense of intimidation. You don't get intimidated easily, Aquarius, but when you like somebody, I feel like most of the time Aquarius people are a little bit cocky, and there's nothing wrong with that because it just means, you're confident, right? I feel like you're very confident when it comes to, going to a party and dealing with very platonic friends. But as soon as you like somebody, you kind of freeze up, and that's the only time where you start to question, am I good enough for this person? Is this person going to like me? They have so much life experience under their belt. They have such an interesting life that will they find me interesting? So I feel like you are feeling a little bit out of your element. You're feeling a little bit like it's almost like scared of falling in love with this person. So we have, excuse me, it's hard to pick these up. We have here, so the Magician and the Chariot in the reverse. The Chariot is two people who are very similar or could be different, but they're moving the relationship in the right direction. When it's in the reverse position, it indicates to me, despite the lack of compatibility, I feel like this person, their energy is like the embodiment of all the elements. So I feel like this person is very versatile, and they can be with any relationship partner they choose, mainly because they kind of shift with their relationship partner. They have a lot to offer as well. So it's kind of like they're the master of all the elements. So I feel like if you are intimidated, I'm sensing this person is really smart, whoever it is that you've got your eyes on. They're very intelligent, and you're not really sure. You're not really sure if you make the cut. You're not really sure if you're good enough. I'm sensing some of you are dealing with a little bit of self-doubt here as to your worthiness, your lovability, because you're with somebody or you like somebody that you feel is a great catch, okay? In the foundation is something that you know to be true. What we have here is the Ten of Cups in the reverse. This is a situation where I feel like it could have led to marriage. It could have led to like engagement, but for some reason it fell apart. So you were dealing with something like this, and now that you're newly single or you're dating again, I feel like a lot of you have fears that you still haven't that you have not let go of from the past, that you haven't released from the past. Fears of giving your heart away, entering into this, wedded union, this engagement with another person, and then having it kind of fall as well. The Hangman in the upright position this time. So for some of you, this situation might pertain to an earth sign. So if you are dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising, I feel like, so first of all, this earth sign is very, very slow moving, but when he or she shows up in the reverse position, it basically means that they're really interested in you. They're gunning for you. They're trying to make a move towards you. But I don't know if you're feeling 100% into it anymore. You're just doubting the viability of a relationship. You're doubting whether or not it's going to be feasible in the long run, and you're doubting whether or not it's going to give you, that emotional wedded bliss that you've been longing for quite some time. So we have here the earth sign that you're still on the fence about. There might have been some recent falling out. There might have been some recent geographical, physical separation from one another. You're waiting for them to kind of like get their act together and make more of a move towards you, to be a lot more directed about what they want out of you. Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. And we have here the Eight of Swords, which is no longer keeping yourself stuck, making some positive strides in your own life. Kind of like being the catalyst of change in your own life, not putting your life on hold, not, putting your life on hold, waiting for other people to come back, waiting for news, communication from other people. And it's linked up as well with the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a card about being high in demand, And especially, it's almost like fighting off all opposition because you know what your heart wants. So I feel like for some of you, if your friends, your family have told you, you should do this, you should do that, you should get married, you should, date such and such, I feel like you're just going to put a kibosh on it. You're just going to be like, whatever you're telling me is not really appropriate for my situation. I know what's best for me, because ultimately you do know what's best for you. And I feel like the more people push you, the more you try to do exactly the opposite. So I feel like at around this time, your friends and your family members know you well enough to know that the more they advise you, the more you will try to, like, not do what they want, and you will most likely try to do the opposite just to shock them. So they know that their advice, their counsel is falling on deaf ears, and I feel like that's just what we're getting here. And moving into the future position, we have the star,